architecture of silence.
New York City at 3 in the morning smells of ozone and ambition. From the 84th floor, the yellow lights of the taxis below seem like red blood cells in the arteries of a city that never sleeps, because it's too afraid to wake up in poverty. I stood by the window of my penthouse, clutching a glass of vintage Krug. The bubbles rose with the same inexorable force with which my assets were consuming the Tribeca real estate market. But today, I wasn't thrilled by the numbers. Today, I was thinking about the price of silence. People often ask me, Eleanor, what's the secret to your longevity in this business? They expect a story of hard work or a stroke of genius. But the truth is far more prosaic. My secret is the liquidity of sin. In the world of big capital, you either own someone else's secrets or you become the mastermind behind someone else's dirt. Jeffrey, my old acquaintance, made a fatal mistake. He thought secrets were a commodity that could be sold endlessly. He didn't understand that a secret is like uranium. If you hold on to it for too long and don't convert it into power, it starts to kill you.
Lesson from the honey trap.
When Adrian, the same boy with the eyes of a biblical cherub whom Jeffrey had sent to me, lay on my silk sheets after our flesh deal, he looked like a broken doll. He was waiting for me to fall asleep so he could activate the transmitter in his watch. I sat in the chair opposite the bed, throwing a cashmere robe worth a year's tuition at the Ivy League over my shoulders. You know, Adrian, I said quietly, cutting through the silence with the flick of an ST. DuPont lighter. Jeffrey underestimates women of my type. He thinks we seek solace in you, but we only seek in you a reflection of our own ability to dominate. I saw the colour drain from his face. He realised he wasn't the hunter here. Your watch isn't working, I continued. There's a military-grade jammer in this room, but don't be afraid. I'm not going to kill you. That would be too tax inefficient. I'm going to buy you. That's what my criminal arbitrage is all about. I don't punish traitors. I buy their loyalty by offering them what fear can't: freedom. By morning, Adrian was my best double agent. He returned to Epstein with information that seemed plausible, but was a slow-acting poison for his entire network.
Economy of fear.
Many rich people in this country live in constant fear of the IRS, the FBI, or lawsuits. They build bunkers and hire armies of lawyers. I build information dams. If you have enough leverage, the FBI doesn't come to you with a search warrant. They come to you for advice. When the state's attorney tried to put me away for creative capitalism, he didn't realize that his own mortgage in the Hamptons had been purchased by my subsidiary through 3 offshore companies in Nevis 6 months before the investigation began. How can you prosecute a woman who is effectively your landlord? This is the higher mathematics of power. You don't fight the system. You become the system. You penetrate its capillaries, you become its oxygen, and if the system tries to reject you, it will simply suffocate.
Epstein's shadow.
Jeffrey called me the next morning. His voice was oily, like an oil slick on water. Eleanor, my dear, he began, I hear you had a memorable night. I hope Adrian was helpful. Helpful is an understatement, Jeffrey, I replied, watching the sun begin to turn the Empire State Building's spire blood red. He's opened my eyes to how far you've fallen. Sending children to lionesses is a sign of desperation, not strength. You play blackmail, and I play chess, and your king is already within reach of my queen. I knew he was recording this conversation. I wanted him to record it, because in that conversation, I had laid the code to his future downfall. I mentioned a bank in Monaco through which he funneled money for very important people, and I made it clear to him, if he takes one more step toward me, this bank will accidentally leak the data to WikiLeaks. Jeffrey fell silent. In that silence, I heard the most pleasant thing a predator can hear, the breathing of prey who realizes they're trapped.
Overnight, flight to New Jersey. The Oberon Club.
New Jersey is New York's backyard, where they bury corpses and make deals Wall Street shouldn't know about. My armored Maybach glided smoothly along the foggy highway toward a private golf club whose name didn't appear on any map. The Oberon Club was a gathering place for people whose names don't appear on Forbes lists because they own the lists themselves. They were representatives of the shadow government, former CIA directors, former Treasury chiefs, and those who control search engine algorithms. I entered a room smelling of old leather and history. 3 people were seated at a massive table. One of them was a man known in narrow circles as the architect. He looked at me over his wire-rimmed glasses. Eleanor, you're playing a dangerous game with Jeffrey. He's our asset. Inconvenient, but necessary. He was an asset 10 years ago, I replied, sitting down in the chair without waiting for an invitation. Now he's toxic debt. He's become too public, too greedy, and too careless. And in our world, carelessness is the only sin that can't be forgiven.
The decisive blow. Financial annihilation.
I placed a thin tablet on the table. Charts of Epstein's offshore funds flickered on the screen. Jeffrey thinks his money is safe in the Virgin Islands, but he's forgotten who built the infrastructure for these banks. I've struck him where it hurts most, his liquidity. My plan was simple and ruthless. Using the information obtained from Adrian and the hacked servers, I launched criminal arbitrage at full capacity, margin call from the shadows. I convinced the 3 largest holders of his debt obligations to demand immediate repayment. Simultaneously, short squeeze, we launched a massive attack on the companies Jeffrey used to launder money. His capital began to evaporate at a rate of $50 million an hour. The poison pill. I activated the sleeper code in his transaction system. Now every cent he tried to transfer was automatically blocked by the compliance system as terrorist-linked. By morning, I said, looking into the architect's empty eyes, Jeffrey won't just be bankrupt. He'll be in debt to people who won't accept apologies, and either you write him off now, or he'll drag you all down with him when he speaks in court.
The death of a king. The birth of a legend.
The architect was silent for a long moment. The only sound in the room was the ticking of the antique clock. "What do you want in return, Eleanor?" he finally asked. "I don't want his islands or his planes. I want control of the New Jersey port terminals he controlled, and I want his black book gone. Forever. No leaks. No copies." He nodded. This was Jeffrey's death sentence, not from the law, but from those above him. I left the club as the first rays of sun began to break through the fog. In 3 days, the news will say, "Epstein has been arrested." In a month, he will be found in a cell. But the real story happened here, in the quiet of New Jersey, to the clink of crystal and the rustle of financial guarantees. People think power is the ability to do whatever you want. No, power is the ability to decide who will remain in history and who will turn to ashes. Jeffrey thought he was a puppeteer, but he forgot that puppets sometimes cut their strings and use them as a noose.